Okay, so today I want to provide an update on the Lafayette voluntary closure, which took place on January the 24th. I also want to outline the steps that the health department is doing to keep all of our residents safe. So on January 24th, Lafayette closed due to a rat infestation which was discovered by the environmental health team that are standing behind me. Since then, we've worked really closely with the Lafayette team here to make sure that everything that we recommended was handled, and that's exactly what they did. They ensured that all of the necessary corrective actions were taken. Since that time, the restaurant has fully cooperated. They have made significant improvements, and they have now successfully passed their inspection, and they are reopening today. So I really feel good about the direction that Lafayette has taken. I want to applaud them for voluntarily closing. The health department did not close them. They decided that this was the right thing to do. And again, they've been closed for about 30 days. I want to talk about some of the key improvements that Lafayette has taken. And then, of course, we'll give them a chance to come and talk about the improvements as well. We asked them to deep clean and sanitize their entire facility. And if you can look, you can see how beautiful the flooring is. If you walk downstairs, I'm sure they'll give you a tour. Everything is brand new. It's night and day, literally, from the new lighting, from the modernized equipment they have in place. And of course, we asked them to seal all potential pest entry points, and also reinforce pest control measures. So if you look downstairs, everything is brand new, everything is sealed off, and I feel really good about that. They've strengthened their food storage practices to prevent contamination and also access for rodents, and they upgraded their waste management protocols to eliminate conditions that attract pests. So what this means is, last Friday we invited the team to the health department. We walked through line by line what the recommendations were. For example, for their waste management, we noticed that although they were taking out the trash daily, and they were collecting the trash, they were leaving the trash in the building overnight, which is not a best practice that we would recommend. So they have since then improved that. They also have ongoing communication with their pest control vendor, not just on a weekly basis, but they're always in constant communication with them. One of the new things that we recommended was to train all of their staff on the regular cleaning protocols, proper food handling, sanitation, and pest prevention. In fact, we had their training just about an hour ago, not only for their staff, but also for their management staff. And we also encourage them to do regular internal inspections before the health department comes. So those are some of the things that they've done over the last several weeks. Again, I feel really good about the direction that they are taking. Now, you may have heard about the Dining with Confidence ordinance. That is one of the many tools that businesses have in place to make sure that they are keeping the city safe. The Dining with Confidence ordinance was passed by City Council several months ago. It was implemented October 1st. The Dining with Confidence is an ordinance that makes restaurant inspection results public. What this means for a resident or for someone from the public, they can go to any restaurant within the city of Detroit and feel confident knowing that when they dine in, they don't have to have a question about whether the food that they're eating has been properly handled. They already know because there is a green placard placed in the window of the restaurant. So far, 1,000 restaurants now have the green placard. So what does this mean for Lafayette? Currently, they do not have a placard in place because their inspection is not due as of yet. But when they do have their inspection in the next couple of months, and it will be unannounced, they will have to maintain the consistency. So we don't want to see any repeat violations, and we do want to make sure that they are continuing to provide residents with the safest level of standards. At the health department, we have 17 inspectors, and they are inspecting about 3,000 restaurants in the city of Detroit. They are handling it beautifully. Restaurants are inspected every 6 to 12 months, depending upon the complexity of the restaurant. The inspections ensure compliance with food safety regulations, and we educate restaurant management on best practices. If serious violations are found, we use progressive enforcement to ensure issues are corrected. So again, we feel good about Lafayette. We want to make sure that the public knows that you can dine in here, and we also want the public to know that we will continue to hold Lafayette accountable. We'll have regular inspections, both right now informal, until their formal inspection takes place. And with that, we will turn it over now to Lafayette. They'll talk to you about their practices, and then we'll open up for any questions. So with that, Sam.
Hi, everybody. Yeah. Okay, we did close the January 24 voluntarily. We've been working closely with the health department. We did fix everything, all the violations. Plus, we did few things extra. We put new floors, new patching downstairs, painting, everything. That's about it. And we are ready to open today, I guess.
You want to talk about the training?
Yeah.
The training?
Yeah, we did the training too. All the employees got trained. Yeah, and we will continue do the good job, good work.
All right. We'll open up for any questions.
How long did it take you to make these upgrades?
We could have done. It take us 5 weeks. We've been closed, but we could have done in a couple of weeks. But we did a lot of extra things.
Okay.
Yeah, we make new floor upstairs.
For example, extra things like?
We put new floor here upstairs. Then downstairs we do all the painting, a new compressor for the compressors, for the refrigeration, lot of things.
So you've been closed for more than a month now.
Yeah, 5 weeks. About 5 weeks.
When you think about the impact of closing and the upgrades here, how much of an impact has that had on your business?
Oh, that's a lot. I don't know. Yeah.
How many inspections did you do before you made sure they were able to reopen?
How many inspections?
Yeah.
Yes,
Like
so
three,
yeah,
two,
we
three?
had about 2 or 3,
Three, yeah.
and these were informal inspections.
Yeah.
They weren't surprised. We just had regular feedback sessions with them. We asked them, what support do you need? And again, we provided that additional training to make sure they had everything that they needed before they opened.
What would you like to say to your customers? Customer confidence can be kind of a fickle thing. Now that you're reopening, what would you like to say to them to assure them
We'll come back. What do you? Yeah.
nothing further in regard to just any concerns people might have?
There is no more concerns. I don't think so. Everything is fixed up. They're ready to go.
What was stopping you from making those changes prior? Because this is the second time where there was a rat infestation. So what was holding you back from making these upgrades before?
Well, I don't know. I guess we don't have no time before. We never think about it. Yeah.
You have neighbors who are really concerned about this situation.
Well-
How is your relationship going with your neighbors?
That was good before. Now I don't know. No, they own the building next door too. They own that one too. We are in the middle. So if we have it, they have it too, and they got it to another side too. They own the whole building with the whole block. Yeah.
Denise, I don't know if you or any of the inspectors can address, to a layperson, if one building's infested, maybe people wonder how another cannot be.
Yeah.
Where they come from is the single most important thing, the sealing of the entry points you talked about. Is there a priority list of what was done that will keep them out? But the whole fact, if one restaurant's infested, people must wonder in proximity if there's concerns from it, and how do we know they're not?
Yeah, so I went downstairs yesterday with the inspection that took place yesterday, and I saw with my own eyes. The building next door is very close to Lafayette, and there were these huge holes. And obviously, the rats can go in between both locations, but now it is sealed shut. And I'm really confident that those rats will not be able to come through, but we'll continue to monitor them. Scott, is there anything that you want to add to that?
Say some of the most important things for any kind of pest control, but of course including rodents, is denying them of food sources, water sources, and places to hide. if you take care of all three of those, you may get an occasional pest coming in, but they won't thrive and multiply.
Can you articulate how infested means, meaning at its worst, what was the proliferation, what was the issue?
So if you think about where we were about 2 years ago when we did an inspection, there were several rat droppings all across the basement floor. And that is a sign that it's a huge infestation. This time when we went, it wasn't even half. But once we see a few droppings, it's time for us to intervene, and we take everything seriously. And I'm really, again, really proud of Lafayette for continuing to have regular conversations with their pest control vendor. And I think that's really key. So again, really feel good about where they are right now.
When it comes to abatement issues like this, you said you had 17 inspectors looking at 3,000 restaurants. Are you relying primarily on what your inspectors see, or are you also relying on the general public who goes into these restaurants day to day? And how does that work? If someone were to say something, does it get priority?
Sure. So I'm glad you brought that up. So we take, again, every complaint seriously. So again, there's 3,000 restaurants in the city of Detroit. Every restaurant is inspected at least twice, but we do rely on the public. We always say, if you see something, say something. You can contact us on Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media accounts are out there, but also we have a hotline, and you can go to our website. We respond within 24 hours. We're constantly tagged on Facebook, and we show up. The inspectors show up within 24 hours to address the problem. So again, go on our website, hotline, or DM us on any social media accounts.
I just have one more question in regard to where these rats were coming from, meaning if there was openings that were sealed, does that mean they were next door in an adjacent building that might be abandoned, or are they transient? Do they, I'm trying to get my handle on where they appear from.
So we're not really sure. But we know there's a building next door, we know there's a garden, and there's a street. So we have no idea where they've come from, but under the leadership of Lafayette, they're taking this seriously. They have sealed off the entrances where the rats could potentially come, and we'll continue to monitor. One of the great things about their pest control vendor is that they're coming on a weekly basis. If they see droppings, they are immediately addressing the issue. But we will hold Lafayette accountable. They already know that. We have regular conversations. I pop in, my team pops in. Lafayette is a staple, and we want to maintain it.
This is the second riot sighting in 3 years, so, and it's voluntary. Can you explain the voluntary process of shutting down? Why is it a voluntary closure?
We don't want to force a business to close if they already decide to close themselves. So it's really up to them. If they decided not to close, then we would put in an order that would shut them down. But again, this was voluntary. They decided, one of the great things about Lafayette was they took this seriously, and they really went ahead of us. And because they noticed that this was a problem, they shut themselves down. Not a lot of restaurants do that, so I commend them for stepping up.
Do you think the city has enough inspectors for the amount of, was it 3,000?
3,000, absolutely. In fact, if you look at all the restaurants across the state, and if you look at the city of Detroit, in terms of our compliance, we are at the highest in any other city across the state of Michigan, and I'm very proud of my team. They work overtime in order to make sure that the restaurants are held to the highest standards.
Mm-hmm.
So Lafayette is reopening today, what time?
Well, we have no supplies. Soon as the supplies coming in, probably around 5, 6 maybe.
Any other questions?
Does the city have, are these inspections for rodent problems? I mean, is it common? I mean, is it common to have, this whole process? I mean, this is a landmark here.
Yes. Yeah, so it's I don't want to say it's common to have rodents, but
I mean,
they,
not common,
They're going to appear. That's why we always communicate proper handling of food. You don't want to provide any opening, any opportunity for a rodent to come through. So we talked about proper pest control management. For example, making sure that twice daily you're taking the trash and you're putting it outside of the facility. You're not storing it because rodents will come in, they'll set up shop, and that's not good for anyone. I also want the public to know that we provide education to restaurants. So if there's any restaurant out there who has questions, who has concern, they can call the Detroit Health Department. We are there to help you succeed. Thank you for coming, and we appreciate it. Thanks very much.